Today I'm in beautiful California with the family. I just got done doing some stem cells. I usually don't complain to the fans about all the different injuries that I've had over the years. You guys usually only hear about the major ones. I usually just get back to work, fight the toughest competition that the world has to offer. But this time I took a little bit of step back. Some stem cells, some things that really need to be addressed. I wanted to thank the UFC for supporting that. Yeah, life is good. Your boy's healing, becoming stronger, so that I can finish my old man championships like a real badass. And a lot of great things are to come, but all great things take time. I'm patient. I'm on a mission. I'm a
Jon
man
Jones.
with a plan.
They're talking about the White House. They're talking about the White House. They're talking about a White House fight card. Hey man, we gotta have some Americans win.
Yes,
I don't like Jon Jones. It's no secret. The whole world knows it.
you're right.
I say, man, y'all better put Jon Jones on there because right now we ain't got one American in the top 10 pound for pound. I said, if y'all want an American dude to go get a victory, put Jon Jones in there because he gonna win. That's what he does.
Yes.
Jon Bones Jones has dropped a bombshell with his cryptic man on a mission message to the MMA world, sparking massive conversation, especially after receiving surprise and support from his former rival Israel Adesanya. This saga of retirement reversals, multi-million-dollar offers, and even White House aspirations has the entire combat sports community buzzing. At the heart of the story are the jaw-dropping numbers. Jones, often hailed as the greatest mixed martial artist of all time, was reportedly offered a staggering $30 million to face Tom Aspinall in what Dana White believed could become the biggest heavyweight unification fight in UFC history.
Yeah.
Would you have rolled it for 30 million?
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
even if I wasn't a fighter for 30 million, I'd get my ass kicked for 30 million. Yo, okay.
And like I said, for 30 million, but I don't know how Jon Jones' body
But things
feels.
quickly took a complicated turn when Jones, after initially accepting the deal and shaking hands on it, suddenly pulled out and shocked the MMA world by announcing his retirement in June, walking away from generational wealth at the peak of his earning potential. That retirement, however, lasted only 2 weeks before everything changed with President Donald Trump's announcement of a UFC event set to take place at the White House in July 2026, and the historic prospect of fighting on a White House lawn was enough to lure Bones out of retirement.
Fields and historic sites are going to have special events in honor of America 250, and I even think we're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have. Does anybody watch UFC? The Great Dana Well. We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little. We're not. Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. Going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have some incredible events, some professional events, some amateur events. But the UFC fight's going to be a big deal.
However, there's a major catch. UFC CEO Dana White, clearly frustrated with Jones's constant flip-flopping, declared there's only 1,000,000,000 to 1 chance he'll be allowed to compete at the historic White House event, emphasizing that in the fight business, broken trust is unforgivable. Yet, despite the tension with UFC leadership, Jones recently lit up social media with an optimistic Instagram post that had the MMA world buzzing. The 38-year-old heavyweight revealed he has undergone stem cell therapy to repair lingering injuries, something he admits he rarely talks about publicly, telling fans, "I just got done doing some stem cells. I usually don't complain to the fans about all the different injuries I've had over the years. This time, I took a little step back and I got some stem cells done." But it was his closing words that truly resonated as Jones declared, "Life is good. Your boy is healing, becoming stronger so that I can finish my old man chapter like a real badass. I think a lot of great things are to come, but all great things take time. I'm patient. I'm a man on a mission, a man with a plan."
Today I'm in beautiful California with the family. I just got done doing some stem cells. I usually don't complain to the fans about all the different injuries that I've had over the years. You guys usually only hear about the major ones. I usually just get back to work and fight the toughest competition that the world has to offer. But this time I took a little bit of step back. I got some stuff, some things that really need to be addressed. I wanted to thank the UFC for supporting that. Yeah, life is good. The boy's healing, becoming stronger, so that I can finish my old man championships like a real badass. A lot of great things to come, but all great things take time. Be patient.
The phrase "man on a mission" has quickly become a rallying cry for Jones' supporters, signaling that he's not simply planning a comeback, but something truly spectacular. Though the lingering question is whether Dana White will grant him that opportunity. In one of the most surprising twists of this entire saga, former two-time UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya has publicly supported Jones's controversial retirement decision, a noteworthy stance given their often rocky relationship. Adesanya's reasoning is rooted in strategy, as he explained during a conversation with Demetrius Johnson. "If I were in his position, I would have probably done the smart thing, which is after Stipe, bounce. You don't want to risk it because it's a great legacy. God forbid he beats you, then you got to come back again and try to fight him again and beat him."
I'm gonna roll them fucking dice. I'm out. I'm gone.
I was about to say, if I was in his position, I would have probably done the smart thing, which is after Stipe bounce, or if I prolonged it maybe a few months and I realized, and I just know I'm not gonna fight anymore. I'm not rolling the dice against a guy like that because I'm just like, you don't want to risk it because it's a great legacy, and then if he, God forbid or whatever, if he beats you, then you got to come back and try and fight him.
What Adesanya is saying here is brutally honest. Jones has everything to lose and very little to gain by facing Tom Aspinall, as a defeat would not only force an immediate rematch, but also extend his career by years and potentially damage the legacy he's built as the greatest of all time. Still, Adesanya doesn't believe Jones will remain retired forever, suggesting that while walking away now may be the smart move, the competitive fire and bones will eventually pull him back into the octagon.
Yes.
I think it's gonna come back. I think he'll do it maybe after whatever happens legally that he has to go through.
Yep.
Then he's just gonna come back after he sees more footage of Tom fight two other guys, and then probably get his stock up anyway.
He'll be 40.
Like
He'll be 40 by then.
he'll do it. He's Jon Jones. Again, look, me and John, we're cool.
Of course.
Being a fan. And I think just he's that guy that after the Saragon fight, because I thought like, nah, Saragon's young.
Yep.
He's a guy that can give him problems. And the way he dispatched of him, I was like,
Yeah.
I can't doubt this guy anymore. But Tom is a different beast.
1,000%.
I think Tom's a different beast. But I think
This endorsement from a fellow champion adds weight and legitimacy to Jones's calculated approach toward managing the final chapter of his career. Meanwhile, as Jones takes time to recover and plot his next move, the heavyweight division has moved forward with Tom Aspinall. The man originally slated to face him, now crowned the undisputed heavyweight champion following Jones's decision to relinquish his title during his short-lived retirement.
UFC 321, October 21st, October 25th, Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. Tom Aspinall will face Cyril Gane. Aspinall has 15 wins, and all of them are by finish. Gane is the number one ranked.
Aspinall isn't wasting any time either, as he's set to defend his title against Cyril Gane at UFC 321 in October in Abu Dhabi, a showdown that will likely determine who truly deserves to be called a top heavyweight contender when Jones eventually makes his return. In the meantime, Jones has officially re-entered the UFC's anti-doping program, a mandatory step for any fighter coming out of retirement, which typically requires 6 months of clean testing before being cleared to compete. Though given the extremely short length of his retirement, the UFC could choose to waive this requirement.
Wish you all very happy 4th of July. You know, be safe here, no one lost. And fingers, man. Thanks. Yeah. Good boy. Okay.
The timing actually works in Jones's favor, as his ultimate goal of fighting on the historic White House card in July 2026 gives him over a year to heal, train, and possibly mend his strained relationship with Dana White. What we're seeing from Jon Jones is more than just fight negotiations or retirement chatter. It's a masterclass in legacy management from one of the sport's most calculating competitors. At 38 years old, he knows his time in the octagon is limited, and every move he makes now will shape how he's remembered. The $30 million offer, while monumental, was simply one payday, whereas the White House event represents something far greater: history. Competing on the White House lawn would cement his legacy in a way no amount of money could. Israel Adesanya's public support underscores an important truth about elite athletes. They see the mental chess game that casual fans often overlook. And sometimes the smartest move is knowing when not to fight, especially when you've already proven you're the greatest. So where does this leave us? Jon Jones remains, in his own words, a man on a mission with a plan. He's healing. He's back in the UFC's testing pool, and he's keeping his options open for what could become the most unique fight card in combat sports history. Dana White's frustration is understandable, but business is business, and a Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall showdown at the White House will be the kind of spectacle that transcends sports. Will White's anger outweigh the massive commercial opportunity? Only time will tell. What's certain is that Jones isn't finished yet. Whether it's the White House, a traditional arena, or another unprecedented stage, Bones is planning one final chapter to his legendary career. And if Adesanya is right, when Jones finally returns, the wait will only make the fight even bigger. For now, the MMA world watches closely, waiting to see what the man on a mission does next. That's all for tonight's MMA update. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more breaking news from the world of mixed martial arts.
In the next few months or several months that Jon could do where you could say, okay, I actually trust him to put him on that card?
Let me ask you, what do you think Jon would do in the next couple of months that would make me trust putting him on the White House card?
Well, I would not trust him, but I would like to see him fight Aspinall on that card down the road.
So I already said that I don't trust him, and you're asking me what could he do for me to trust him in the next 3 months. You don't trust him.
Well, yes, but you talk to him. I don't.
Yeah. No, I don't talk to him either. I haven't talked to him at all.
Well, there's a greater chance you'll talk to him than I'll talk.
Yeah. I would not bet on, if I had to make odds, it's 1,000,000,000 to 1 that I put Jon Jones on the White House card.
At this point, the big question is whether Jon Jones can do anything in the coming months to regain enough trust to secure a spot on the White House card. When asked directly, the response was blunt. I wouldn't trust him, but I'd like to see him fight Aspinall on that card down the road. I've already said I don't trust him, and you're asking me what he could do in the next 3 months to change that. You don't trust him. Well, yes, but you talk to him. No, I don't talk to him either. I haven't talked to him at all. There's a greater chance you'll talk to him than I ever will. If I had to make odds, it's 1,000,000,000 to 1 that I'd put Jon Jones on the White House card. This sharp exchange highlights just how deep the trust issues run, making Jones's path back to UFC's good graces as uncertain as ever.
You think Jones has been ducking him?
Yes, I think he didn't want to fight him. And I think it was a calculated decision on his part. Why did you drag this out all the way until June when you knew you weren't going to fight him? He gave the UFC a number. I believe it's in the $30 million range for this fight, which, by the way, I think he deserves. He didn't think that they would come up with a number, and they did. Oh, they did come up with a number, yes. And I believe that Saudi Arabia was involved. The big dogs were involved, right? And he said yes. And then 2 days later, 3 days later, whatever, he said, nah, on second thought, I'm out. And that's why when he announced his retirement, Dana said, he gave me his word, and then he went back on his word. I think he was hoping that they would not meet the number, and then he could be like, hey, guys, I tried.
And Turkey was just like, no, we haven't.
And they met him. Yeah, because that's what happened with the Francis Ngannou fight in 2020. He threw out a massive number. They said no.
Just days after UFC CEO Dana White seemingly crushed Jon Jones's White House dreams by giving him 1,000,000,000 to 1 odds of making the historic July 4th card, Bones fired back with unshakable confidence, boldly declaring, I like my chances, while revealing that he's still training relentlessly for what he describes as his ultimate goal.
So they've announced this White House UFC fight. Can we expect to see you on the card?
Yeah, I can't promise anyone anything, but I have very strong feelings about these. I'm trying to do the story.
So who would you take on? Who would be your dream opponent?
I would want to take on whoever's holding the belt after the end of the year.
Any possible names you think?
But no, I mean, as of right now, the champion is Tom Aspinall. But we'll see who's the champion at the end of the year. The only thing to have an American guy fight for the championship behind.
This story has everything. Broken promises, impossible odds, and one legend's refusal to let go of his ultimate dream. To set the stage, President Donald Trump, a longtime UFC enthusiast, has proposed something unprecedented in combat sports history. A UFC event on the White House South Lawn on July 4th, 2026, in celebration of America's 250th anniversary. Dana White confirmed to the Associated Press. This isn't just presidential wishful thinking. The UFC will be on the White House South Lawn live on CBS. The event is part of a massive $7.7 billion Paramount deal launching in 2026, and White insists it will be the biggest card in UFC history. When Jon Jones heard about this historic opportunity, his eyes lit up. Here's a fighter who has achieved nearly everything in the sport, from becoming the youngest UFC champion at 23 to defending his light heavyweight belt 8 times and later capturing the heavyweight crown. But one thing he's never done is fight for his country on such a monumental stage. Jones didn't hide his excitement, taking to social media to declare his desire to represent America and give his career an even greater sense of purpose. He even went so far as to give President Trump his heavyweight belt cage side at UFC 309, a symbolic gesture that positioned him squarely for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more breaking MMA updates. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this story, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest news from the world of combat sports.